Of all the things people don't like about school, I think the most hated of all are the tests. Maybe some are literal timed exams, and others are less mathematical, like projects, presentations, or research. Underlying all of these is the idea that we must prove what we know. But sometimes it feels as if we are doing more than just that. It can feel like we must prove what we are worth as a person. With education so often touted as the key to being financially secure, it can feel as if the weight of our future rests upon our shoulders every time we must pass a test. With this comes anxiety and worry. We compare ourselves to others. We worry that we are going to fail or that we are falling behind, even when we are progressing as planned. How does one handle the stress of it all? I don't have all the answers, but I want to talk about what we can learn from the indie game Looking Up, I Only See a Ceiling. It also doesn't have every answer, but I think that the messages that the game has for us are important. The game begins with someone telling you it's time to wake up. Your eyes look tired, and they must be playing tricks on you because when you get out of bed, it seems that whoever told you to wake up has disappeared. You wish that you could go outside since it's such a nice day, but you need to study, specifically for an anatomy exam. There are books and notes scattered across your desk, meaning that it's not your first day studying. The first task of the day is to go get some breakfast. Going out into the hallway, there are some boxes on the ground that haven't been unpacked. There's mail spilling through the door, too. Turning right towards the kitchen, there's more boxes. Walking through the hallway and into the kitchen, you need to grab a drink, perhaps coffee, and then some eggs and bacon. A very nice looking breakfast, I might add. If you interact with anything besides the food, you insist that you don't need it now, and you need to do things in order. After eating, you go to the sink, in which there are scissors. You're a bit confused why you put them there, and clean them off. When you turn around, suddenly you're not in your home anymore. You turn a corner to a room full of calendars, books everywhere. Many of them are labeled with anatomy-related things. Passing through a door into another room, there's an unknown figure. They walk forward and trip over some books, dropping a few more calendars in the process. You bend down to pick them up and are on the verge of realizing something when he speaks to you. It's the guy who woke you up. You ask him where you are. He says he doesn't know. You ask him if it's a library. He says that maybe you're right. Maybe it is a library. He spends all day there, reading books and marking dates. You tell him you want to go home, and he laughs at you. When you leave the room, suddenly you are back at your house in the main hallway. You brush it off as just being tired, and that you should freshen up. However, the bathroom is locked. Apparently, you hid the key in one of your books, as a way to keep yourself focused on studying. While getting the key, you notice something outside. When you look through the window, the guy from earlier appears again, only to point up and disappear. You say that this really must be caused by stress. I should rest, but I really have to study. You go to the bathroom and brush your teeth, but when you turn around, a giant hole opens in the floor. Black goo seeps from the ceiling, and hands wrap around you. In the mirror, you can see the hands on your shoulder, but in your own eyes, nothing is there. If you look down into the hole, eyes stare back at you, and when you turn around again, the guy is there. This time is more surprising than the rest, because the door was locked. How did he get in? You think that he must have come up from inside the hole. He says of course not, the hole is scary. You can ask again, but rather than answering, he just laughs and says that your time is running out. In desperation, you promise to give him anything he wants to be let out of this place. He jokes he wants your soul, but that's not what he actually wants. He says that it will be hard to leave. This place helps you think. Suddenly, he has to go take care of something. He tells you to break the loop, and walks out the door without any further explanation. Meanwhile, if you explore your bathroom, in the bathtub, there's a mannequin. Outside of the bathroom, you hear water, but it's not coming from the bathroom. In the right hallway, water bursts through the window. You think of all the things you should do, like move things out of the water, but there's no time. Your house keys are gone, so you can't leave through the door, and the windows won't open either. In the bathroom, the mannequin is now fully submerged in water. Eventually, you come across your attic. What you need to do is go to the closet and grab a stick to get the attic ladder down. You climb up to escape the water, but the attic isn't your own. There are many trapdoors and bloody people around. As you try to walk forward towards a door, a hand climbs up through the ladder. Before you is a monster, a personification of time. It reaches out and grabs you, and without anything to fight back, you are swallowed up by it. In doing so, you get the bad ending of the game. In order to get the good ending, you need one critical thing: the scissors you washed back at the beginning of the game. If you go back for them before climbing up the ladder, you will be able to stab the creature when it attacks you. When you do, it reels back in pain, allowing you to escape. Running out the door, you wake up fully clothed in the bathtub, just as the mannequin was. You fell asleep, or perhaps fainted in the bathtub. Back in your house, you look up and only see a ceiling. The attic is gone. You say that you feel better, like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders, and decide to leave the house. Finally, getting to go outside like you wanted at the beginning of the day. This is the good ending of the game. I should also note that if you interact with the bed 3 times in a row at the start of the game, you actually unlock a secret ending, where you just go back to sleep. This whole series of events takes around 30 minutes to play through, and I think there is a lot to learn from it. The girl's home is messy. She acknowledges that she needs to unpack the boxes, get the mail, and organize her space, but she just doesn't have time for it. She needs to study. She wants to go to sleep, but she needs to study. She wants to go outside, but she needs to study. Her life has been consumed by academics. The strange room where we encounter the man is the girl's mind, where her memorized facts she read from the books appear, and her consciousness keeps track of the due dates she needs to keep in mind. Her stress and fatigue are blurring the line between her reality and her consciousness to the point where she is roaming within her mind, lost in the sea of information. When she is able to escape, she doesn't seem to have gotten the message though, as she acknowledges that she is tired, enough to have hallucinations even, but she just brushes it off and continues on. Even when her consciousness appears in reality, she just acknowledges again that she really must be tired, but she still has to study. Her stubbornness is what causes her world to finally fall apart, with a hole opening up in her bathroom. Her consciousness tells her that she needs to be in this place, to reflect. The mannequin in the bathtub is a mirror image of herself. Without reflection, you will continue to run, and will eventually get swallowed up by time, perhaps in a literal sense alluding to her drowning in the bathtub after passing out. The scissors are the key to defeating time. Why scissors? They are often used as a symbol of cutting strings, the strings that puppeteer us and move us to self-destructive behavior. She must use the scissors to free herself from the prison that she has created for herself. So what does this mean in a non-literary sense? It means that the key is to prioritize our health and well-being over our careers. There is no future we are working to build if we are actively destroying what we already have. If we are so tired all the time that our consciousness needs to perform a wellness check on us, we probably need to reevaluate if how we are doing things is really the best way. This does not mean to say you should drop out of school or quit your job. What it means is that we must follow the path of moderation. Too little studying and we will actually fail, but way too much studying and hyperfixation on deadlines does way more harm than it does good as well. Learn to appreciate the nice things in life, like the outdoors. Take a break from studying every now and then to go outside. Studies have actually shown that going outside can help combat depression and anxiety, but studies have also shown that just taking breaks in general can also increase productivity. It's a fairly simple message, but an important one, that we cannot keep ignoring what our body tells us. Humans need to rest. We do not have infinite energy, and we must take breaks or we will burn out. Passing a test is a victory, but drinking enough water and eating 3 meals and getting enough sleep and taking breaks are all victories too. And if you don't already do all these things, you might actually find that getting better grades and passing tests actually comes more naturally if you are healthier and prioritize your health. Okay, so with that out of the way, you should be 100% healthy and ready to live a fulfilling life with no stress, right? Maybe for a while. But why did we prioritize academics over our health in the first place anyways? To answer that question, we need to address the other half, societal pressure. The DLC for this game is called the Relapse. You reflect upon the attic you hallucinated that day, and how the house had become a limbo where you fought an invisible enemy. By going up inside the attic, you defeated the great weight you were carrying inside. You realized that the guy in the library was you all along. He was the voice of your consciousness. The DLC plays through the day on which one of the last exams of your course is being held. You need to head to university to take the test. Leaving your apartment, you find a calendar on the floor, the first of 10 hidden calendars, which of course, the first is not really hidden so you can get the start of the quest. If you collect all 10, you gain a new vision on life. While leaving your apartment, you reflect. I know that other students live here. I should make friends, but is this possible with my personality? As you walk through the hallway, a figure runs out of their room. The guy was in a rush and dropped their student ID. They go to the same university as you. If you look inside, his room is a mess. You can find the second hidden calendar under the bed. Downstairs, there's a billboard with the regular college ads about classes and keeping track of your key to the apartment. The receptionist lady is always supportive of you, but today she's busy, so you go out the door and run to the bus. However, as you approach the bus, reality begins to distort. The whole bus scene was made of paper and falls away to reveal the apartment as being bloody now. If you look behind you, there are weird-looking people that laugh at you, along with the third hidden calendar. The receptionist is all bloody, perhaps dead, and the announcement on the board now reads, "No matter what you do, it will always get you. Escape now that you can. Sincerely, yourself." To the left is a tunnel. Inside are red words written on the wall about being a failure. You then approach a press with the words stress written on it. Some pretty subtle writing here. Down in the tunnel is the basement, with a recreation room. There's a pool table, and if you interact with it, you reflect about always wanting to play pool, but always having to study instead. I always feel like I didn't do enough. Will I ever cope with this burden? This is probably the most important line of the DLC, and you could almost miss it. More on this later. You now need to complete a puzzle that goes like this. First, find a key on the sofa. Then, find a guy with chains all around him and a book. Use the key and he will drop the box cutter that was inside the book. Now use the cutter to cut through a painting and get to a ladder. There's also a hidden calendar under the trash. Now use the ladder to cross a giant hole and approach a desk where a guy has literally been crushed by the weight of books. Pick up a hammer that's on his desk and return to the couch area to smash the TV. Finally, inside the TV is another tunnel. The room starts to fill with water, like it did back at the house. You need to perform a quick time event to escape. Now back in the basement, unlock the door. Through the door and to the right, you will find a hidden calendar and a note with another important idea. It reads, "We tried and tried and tried again, but it wasn't enough. How can we escape this spiral now? We are at our limit, always feeling behind others, and no one seems to care." After reading the note, you go left for the exit. One more QuickTime event later, and you make it outside. There's a hidden calendar and a taxi. The taxi driver is your subconsciousness, but you don't notice because you're just looking down at your feet. He asks why you're going to university. An exam. He asks what's so bad about it. I'm sure you've prepared as well as you can. Yeah, in fact, nothing is bad about it. It's what it creates in me that is horrible. It already happened some time ago. His advice to you is to ask if you have a dream, an objective in life, maybe something long-term. Keep your mind anchored to that. Making mistakes, failing, they are opportunities to grow stronger. He then admits that he talked too much, and now you've arrived. It's time to go to the university. In a tree, there's a hidden calendar, and then you head inside to find your test room. You then need to spend some time solving puzzles that involve typing the word stress with numbers. Inside the exam room, you see a person in there, and they run out and smack into you. The same person that ran out of their room earlier. They have an exam in the room, but they're so anxious that they couldn't stop him from coming here. And now appears a new form of the time monster you fought within your home. I'll admit, I liked the other design more. This one reminds me a bit of Jeff the Killer, but that's besides the point. Your subconsciousness attempts to protect you from him and then gets stabbed. You have the option to either run into the exam room or let the timer run out. If you run out, you get ending C, in which you take the test, but don't fundamentally deal with any of your issues. You find a hidden calendar under the test. Instead, if you let your time run out, you get ending A, where you watch as your subconsciousness gets stabbed by the monster. You end up back inside your home, and it begins to flood as it did in the main game. This time, you can't escape. But if you look carefully, you can find the 10th hidden calendar, allowing you to gain a new vision on life. This time, you are given the option to fight, which allows you to overpower the monster, and with the help of the anxious guy from before and the receptionist with a gun? I guess this is an American school, you can finish off the monster. The people in the testing room no longer feel like they are judging you, and you are finally able to take your exam in peace. The DLC was definitely more chaotic than the main story, but still has messages that are worthwhile to take to heart. The main pressure behind the DLC is to deal with societal pressure. All the time we feel the need to compare ourselves to others, and as the note said, feel as though we are never doing enough. This is so much worse in reality than even portrayed here if you go on social media. So often I see videos trying to sell courses on how to make thousands of dollars because if you're not on that grind all day, every day, you're falling behind. Honestly, this is a topic for a whole nother video, so I'm just going to leave it alone for now. You see Harvard and Stanford students posting all about how their lives are. It can be hard to ignore all these things and not compare ourselves to them. Like with the main story being centered around scissors, the DLC has many things to interpret as advice on how to deal with this. The most important one and the central force that defeats the stress incarnate is community and friendship. It is the bonds between people at a close level that allow them to work together to overcome stress. When they are together, they support each other and don't focus quite as much on comparing themselves to others or feeling judged. Another thing is the theme of calendars. Although it could just be seen as a quest in a game meant to spice things up, I interpret these as being a collection of experience. As you go through the game, you gain life experience in the form of calendars, signifying time. Similarly, as you grow older and gain experience, new perspectives on life will open up to you. Hopefully, as time goes on, you will figure out who you are as a person and feel less and less of a need to compare yourself to others. You will find both peace internally with your health and well-being and with society through finding healthy friendships and community. And with that, I think I've spoken for long enough. There are plenty of other things to analyze about the game, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I just want to announce one more thing. Currently, my computer fries itself if it tries to run editing software for too long. That and other things that could be improved have motivated me to create a Patreon. Anything is appreciated and would help improve the quality and frequency of videos. Right now, YouTube is just a hobby, but with your support I could dedicate more time to it. If not, that's fine. I appreciate all the likes and comments supporting my videos. Thanks to everyone.